Perception bias is also another thing that we do see often in as adults. We see this a lot, where it's based on like social. Well, we see this in teenagers and young adults too, like the social exclusion of people, discrimination in the workplace or in schools or social events. So there, we need to find ways of how we can accept those that may not look like us or agree with what we are trying to understand. Um, we can't we can't let the preconceived notions prevent you from meeting or including other people that may not think or look like you. Um, find whatever ways that you're strong in. If somebody that you feel like, oh, you're not comfortable with them, but they're stronger in another aspect of what you're trying to complete, then you need to find a way to like kind of communicate with them. Put away your own personal biases for that. Putting away these unconscious biases creates a real opportunity for a team, creates a real opportunity for the education system, for social matters, social work. When we put these away, we are improving our own diversity. We're improving the way that we want to be treated within ourselves and the way that we want to treat others. So it's really important that we find different ways of attacking this and trying our best to acknowledge it and fix it when we can. Including inclusive recruitment strategies, widening your talent pools so that when you do have hiring, you're hiring all different kinds of people in different levels and different areas that they have their strength. Um, Being able to boost the productivity of your company or your social work or your family needs, because this even works as a family. Being able to encourage each other no matter what. That's what we have to focus on as leaders. Our attitudes and our own stereotypes that exist, we need to try to find a way to diminish that. We're human nature, so we're going to react how we do react. That's fine, but we need to be able to find ways of stopping it and diminishing those um, biases that we do have. Being able to learn as much as possible on everything that we talked about on the unconscious bias, like ageism, genderism, like any of those things. Really find a way to pull in more education for yourself on those things so that you can find ways of stopping it and showing other people how we can progress from it. Um, Listen to other people's stories. Everyone has a story of how they were treated differently because of maybe they don't look the way other people look, or they're older or younger, or I'm a single mom or a single dad. Listen to the stories and tell your story so that you can say, oh, yeah, I get it. I understand. We have some similarities. As easy as it sounds, but it is difficult trying to avoid stereotyping, or trying to avoid generalizing people into one group rather than several different types of groups. um, a lot of us do this. We need to separate our feelings from facts. So doing the research on many different areas from different reliable resources, rather than what you feel and what you think is right. What is the research or researchers have said about it? Getting a diverse group of people around to make a decision together. Everybody thinks differently, so we can combat having an unconscious bias by having a diverse group of people who think everybody thinks differently. um, Developing safe and brave spaces for people to have these conversations. So they are difficult, they are hard conversations to everybody for people to have, but let's have them. Being able to practice empathy. Empathy is huge. We don't realize that we use that on a daily basis, but we do. And if you're not showing empathy for other people whose maybe their lives are different, or they look different, or they act different, or their social classes are different. We need to practice empathy every single day so that we are able to kind of beat the thoughts that we have on others, the unconscious bias. When we become aware of our unconscious biases and our responsibility for that, we are able to mitigate the impact of the unconscious bias and the people around us, and this will lead organizations, lead social groups, lead education facilities, lead people towards a more diversified point of view, better decision making, and increased innovation and overall positivity with the people that you work with, your family, your friends. Being able to facilitate inclusive events, developing mentor programs, the mentor programs for employees, older employees who've been there for a while, for younger employees, or mentors of like we have like the Boys and Girls Club, though that's a great way to kind of break the unbiased conscious. Having everyone feel included in the organization, or have everyone feel included in any program that you're trying to facilitate. Making people feel like they belong and that they can be connected in different ways. Retrieving feedback from clients or feedback from workers, your workers, on how they're feeling with the different implements that you have had with different programs, or your team building, team bonding meetings. Being able to review these things on a regular basis, maybe once a month. You gather your team and you guys are discussing what changes have occurred that have been beneficial, what hasn't, what can you do to continue to make the bonds better for everyone, finding ways to grow with each other, asking detailed questions, open-ended questions, not just yes or no questions, like what was it that you really appreciate about our last discussion, or our last group gathering? What didn't you like? What can we do to help incorporate something better for all of us? Talk about your experiences and your growth with what you are currently doing at that moment. Find out who's on board and who's not, why and why not. None of us are immune to being a bias. Everyone has to deal with it. Everyone finds ways of coping with it and realizing, oh my gosh, yes, I'm falling into this line of thinking and I need to stop myself. That is the most important thing, is being able to maneuver, correct your maneuvers, correct your mistakes, correct how you're thinking because of one stereotype, or because of one idea that someone has said that you felt like it might be good, but you don't really have any facts on it. Personal awareness, being very aware of what you are doing, what you're stating, how you are coming across to other people. Check yourself before you check someone else. That's really what we have to do. Being a leader is knowing when you're wrong, knowing when you have to make and correct your mistakes, and understand that your way of thinking may not be everybody else's way of thinking. So how can we gather this together and become unified? And being open to make change. Change is so important. Like I said in the beginning of this conversation, the IAT test, the implicit associations test, which really, I'm going to give you the website because it is a really good test that everyone should take, because it kind of opens your eyes to the things that you're not aware of, the things that you thought you were cool with, but you're really not. And it really shows how we need to continuously change ourselves to better ourselves, so that we are open to all of the changes that are occurring in front of us, and we are open to helping people who don't think like us and who don't act the way that you feel they should be acting, or the way that you think things should be done because of what you perceive as correct. This will also help you recognize your triggers, the triggers that kind of make your brain say, "Oh, well, that person's this, or they're that," or you know, this test will help you find those triggers, and that way you can correct them, and you can help yourself become a better social worker, or a better teacher, or a better boss. Really try to resist falling into the same category as everybody else. Try to find ways of making things work as a unit and not as one person or as one idea. Um, this is something that is worked on a daily basis. I do this every day. I'm a counselor at a school, so I have to find ways of working with each student in a different way, even if I catch myself, saying, "Oh, well, this family has this, or this family has that." I do my best to like try to separate my own biases. I work on my own unconscious biases with my students and their families.